Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eyitayo Okunyemi. I'm the managing partner at Law Access. Today, I would anchor the topic we have tagged succession planning for your business as an entrepreneur. So let's just get straight to the point because we want to make this to be as fast as possible. Now, when we talk about succession planning, what do we really mean to say? Succession planning is about building talents within your business for the purpose of continuity of the business. Just before I forget, my intention in this session is to give you 4 key points that would transform your business. So I just need you to stay glued to this session and pick these 4 points because they are very powerful and you need them to transform that business. So back to what we are trying to say. Succession planning is about you identifying the talents within your business and then for the continuation of the business. It's really about answering the question, is there life for that business after you? It's really about asking the question, is this business really different from me as the founder? Thinking and reflecting on these questions, then what that leads you to is the pathway of planning for life after you within the business. And this is what we intend to look at today. So let me try to use an example just to help you understand the essence of what we are talking about today. Now, I would have loved that this boat, or better still, this canoe. I would have loved that we have an adult in front and then a child at the back. But you see, the lesson is this. I did a research recently on how an adult can teach a child how to paddle. How can an adult teach a child how to kayak, the act of paddling a canoe? And the first point that interests me in that research is that you must teach the child to be comfortable inside the water. It's the first point of call. You must get the child to just see this as, look, this is water and I'm comfortable right now. There's a need to attach fun to what is being done than attaching fear or attaching of this is big work. And little do we know, little and about the fact that this is just what grooming within the business space is really about. How do you help the younger ones, the inexperienced ones, those that are relatively new within the building? How do you help them to move, to transcend from that low level into becoming people of big capacity to handle more within the business? How do you do all of these things? And so the lesson of the child, grooming the child, to undo paddling of boat or the canoe, to find it applicable at this point. The water seems to look like the corporate structure itself. Do you make the babies, speaking in a very loose sense now, are the babies made to find fun in that which they do within the business? You see, one of the reasons that many people run from responsibility is because they have attached some stress and unnecessary pressure to those responsibilities. If you know how to paddle, you might really agree with me that it's not like it's an easy thing to do. It might be easy to be on the boat and have fun doing a boat ride, but to paddle a canoe might not be an easy ride. So what are we bringing out in essence? What we attach to what we are doing within the space called the business environment, what we attach to our colleagues, especially the junior ones, it goes a long way in helping us to build something for the future. Now, let me pause there and then move into a very important part of today's session. Why do you think that you need to do a succession plan for that business? I read somewhere that if you to attack a sheepfold, you only need to strike the shepherd. And that simply means that to attack a business, you only need to focus on the key person within the business. Why that would be a problem is because the whole focus, the whole power, the whole energy, the whole inspiration for the business, the whole creativity has been put on the shoulders of somebody, and we don't want that to be you. Is the reason we are having this session. So, if you ask me, what then might be the solution? The shepherd and the sheepfold will be scattered. What then might be the solution? I'll tell you that one of the solutions is for the shepherd himself to have some form of support system where the whole thing does not around him or around her. And I'll get to this as well. But let's come to another example. I love football, and one of the reasons I love football is because I use football to learn strategy. And one of the points I've learned in football is a point that is very applicable talking about succession planning. And the point is, a team that builds itself around the player has a lot to lose when the player suffers injury. And if you also are into football, you might agree with me that yes, that happens a lot. We've seen that happen so much in football. Go to Manchester United, we've seen that happen under a coach I will not mention, where the team was built around the player, and then all that had to do was, focus on that player, ensure that you deactivate the player, you ensure that the player is not as efficient as the player should be, and then you destabilize the whole team. And we've seen that play out even in Liverpool. We've seen that play out in a lot of football clubs, where the strength of the team the arsenal of the thing built around one person. And this is just about the story too when it comes to succession planning. Build, if you build the business around you or around that one person, what happens if something happens to that one person? And this is why you need at least two forms of succession planning to ensure that you do not fall victim of this that we are talking about. The first form is what is called the short-term planning. Now, for the short-term planning, it happens especially when there's an urgent need to pull out somebody, get someone else inside the system and all of that. Recently, we had something like that to deal with on behalf of a client, for the fact that a key management had medical complications. They were able to carry on, they were able to delegate because other people were already being doomed before that happened. So it was easy to flow in to cover up for the vacancy that happened as a result of illness. So we are still using the example, strike the shepherd and the sheepfold will be scattered. Now, that shepherd was bedridden, but the company itself didn't have the need to scatter because there was a system in place. So if we talk about short-term planning, it's not like it's the best of system to put in place, but then it does happen. It happens especially where and when there's an emergency need for a replacement to be done within the business. But the best is the one that is called long-term planning. Now, long-term planning is a strategic planning. It's a planning whereby you have a deliberate system that allows people to grow through the ranks such that where there is a lacuna, it's not felt by the people that you are serving. And these things are very crucial, very critical to the success of that business. We come once again to that question. What happens to your business after you? Will the business be able to thrive? Will the business be able to stand the test of time? Now, let me come to the 4 strategies I promise to give you to be able to build a system that will stand even after you. The first point I'm going to talk about, I borrowed this still from the analogy, the shepherd and the sheepfold will scatter. If you have deputy shepherds on the field, if the shepherd is targeted, there is still a high chance that the sheepfold will remain. And so what's the lesson? The lesson is, as much as possible, we need to learn to delegate. We need to learn to build a structure where other people are given the opportunity to know how, not just what do we do, but to know how do we do it. And that leads me to the second point, very crucial. You see, we've gotten to a phase in business where we no longer are dealing in services and goods. We are selling tradition, we are selling custom, we are selling culture. I remember reading the Apple, for instance, and somebody interviewed some of the founders, not precisely. I do not want to be particular about Steve Jobs now, but an interview was conducted, and it was discovered that the culture of Apple as a brand is they first came together to make tech products for themselves before even thinking about the public. That is, what they will not use, they will not sell. So it became the tradition that the products were being made for their personal consumption and being exhibited to the public. It became a tradition. The question is, what is the tradition that you are building? It's not just about that service you are rendering. It's not just about the product that you are selling. What is the exact tradition that you are building? And how inclined are your when it comes to understanding of the tradition? This is where we need what is called policy handbook. You need some form of books that remind the team members and the company as about you do as a brand and the structure, what the hierarchy is like. Very crucial. You need a form of policy handbook. You need a form of staff handbook. You need a form of a documentation that details the tradition, the work style, everything about that brand. Somebody once said, what you write, you do not forget. And this is crucial. Now, when you have something like this, it's important to walk people through it. A number of times we've been engaged as a law firm to prepare handbooks for clients, to prepare policy handbooks, to even prepare staff handbook. And one of the things we endeavor to do is to ensure that what we prepare for our clients is reflective of their culture as a brand. So you will not find us as a firm going into taking one precedent and adopting it for all firms or all our clients. We try to understand the culture. We do that because we understand the essence, the place of succession planning in business. And that you must also understand as a business person, as an entrepreneur, as a founder of that business. You need to understand that everything you do must be expressive of your culture, your value system, your tradition as a brand. And that brings me to the last point for this afternoon. The last point is about your corporate governance. Very crucial as well. Corporate governance is about a lot of things. And one of those things is the fact that corporate governance is also about you ensuring that there is a sync in the system. A sync meaning there is a seamless flow within the system. So it's not just about how you relate with the external forces, external factors. It's also about how your system relates within itself. You must have a good blend of corporate governance system that is efficient. And just in case you need materials on corporate governance, I would refer you to the live session that we had just last week, which was coordinated by my colleague in firm. She did a very lovely one on corporate governance, and I'm sure that you will find it very helpful. Now, this brings us to the end of this session. Permit me to also mention for the first time that Law Accent is coming up with a book that would guide you from A to Z of starting and establishing your business. And the topic I've covered today is covered comprehensively in that book. I do hope that you look forward to having a copy of our book, and I'm sure that you would enjoy it. Thank you for having me today. My name remains Eyitayo Mweme, and we'll look forward to having you, to being with you again next week. Please stay tuned.